CSA stands for Community Supported Agriculture. CSAs are a mutual agreement between farmers and consumers to share the economic and production risks of farming. Many CSAs strictly focus on vegetable production, but there are other CSAs that focus on meats, eggs, and milk as well. CSA consumers sign up for shares of the produced goods and receive their shares of fresh goods typically on a weekly basis. Depending on the model of CSA, consumers can pick up their shares at the farm or other drop-off locations, can pick their own crops at the farm, or can have their shares delivered to their home.
CSAs are frequently praised for creating community around farming, bringing back food with a farmer's face. By getting to visit the farm, meet the farmers and other shareholders, and seeing how food is produced, a shared relationship or trust and understanding is created.
I think every CSA, or every farm, I should say, they develop their own way of doing things. It goes both ways, the farmer and their client.
People are able to meet neighbors they may have never spoken to before and join in a shared community surrounding food. Many farms have blogs and newsletters, ways for shareholders to share recipes, and some farms even require shareholders to volunteer on the farm.
Some connection to kind of the reality of farming and the cycles that go on with it is definitely in there for people, and wanting to support, wanting to know where their food came from.
That if you buy local, you know where it's coming from, you know how they're growing it, and that's the beginnings of it all. Sue and I always ask ourselves when we hear about these little CSAs that have grown to 500, 600,000. Who wants to belong to something like that?
Why would it make any difference whether you did that or went to Wegmans?
I think the challenges that have been coming up are more climate change related. That the weather's been getting more extreme. A lot of it has to do with rain.
Almost all the farmers we spoke with listed weather as the greatest challenge to their CSA. Climate change, including increased precipitation and extreme weather events, can cause huge crop production losses. Climate change has led to extended and reduced seasons of growing, as well as bringing in various diseases to crops. Farmers have had to adapt to changing weather patterns by altering farming practices, such as growing more crops in covered structures, using more pesticides, changing when they plant and harvest, and building infrastructure to combat changes.
Actually getting ready for the next year is actually early summer. So these heavy rains, that's what's throwing everything off. You can't do anything. And you don't dare work up ground on a side hill when you know that the next storm that's going to come is you're going to get 2-3 inches of rain and wash your open ground.
CSAs are often a much more sustainable alternative to large-scale agribusiness. By creating that direct relationship between the farmer and consumer, energy-intensive and waste-producing processes such as storage, transportation, processing, and packaging of foods are eliminated. Furthermore, most CSAs tend to use more sustainable or organic growing processes, and many are quite innovative in the way that they reduce waste. CSAs can also be seen as economically sustainable because profits go directly to the farmers and more accurate food prices are generated based on just wages and the money that goes into food production. With the community that CSAs generate, they are also socially sustainable as they create meaningful relationships. Although CSAs can be hard for lower-income people to commit to, many CSAs provide reduced share prices, accept food stamps, or provide alternative multi-step payment plans. Furthermore, it can be argued that CSAs educate people about farming, sustainable practices, and environmental changes, and encourage people to try more sustainable behaviors within their homes and communities.
We've been a CSA the whole time, and so it this number, and haven't known how to like communicate with our members the whole time too. I think that is being able to create community and around food is really the important part.
Through speaking with different farmers in Madison County, we have come to the conclusion that there is no one perfect model of CSA, but many different models suited to their communities. We believe CSAs have the potential to be a sustainable alternative to large agribusiness and encourage people to make sustainable choices in their lives.